Cary Silkin, thank you for coming back. How are you?
I am.
Hey, here he is.
Happy
Cary.
Happy New Year.
Good to see you guys. Happy New Year.
We can't thank you enough. Like we said, me and Callum, we look forward to having you on all the time. You're one of our favourite people.
Hey, before we mention anything else, you got to speak with the Hallway Boys.
Oh yeah, a nice kid.
Yeah, he said he had a good time talking with you.
Yeah, very nice kid. What's his name? Rian.
Yeah.
Rian. Yeah. Because I used to call him Ryan, and I got corrected straight away. It's Rian. So yeah.
Rian.
Yeah, good guy.
He is. But Callum wants to talk about Final Battle, so I'm going to let Callum start this one off. Callum.
Okay.
So we've all seen Final Battle now, right? Cary, I've seen you tweeting about how good the show was, top to bottom. I actually thought it was the best Final Battle in a long time, and I'm going back a fair few years. I thought it seemed like a big event, and ironically, there was no fans there.
Well, I don't know if it was the best. It was, for me, to be honest, the wrestling was as good as we've ever had.
Yeah.
But because of the atmosphere, it's hard to. But here's what I did. I had you may not believe this, but I had absolutely zero information intentionally on any possible results. So I went into the show just like any other person, which was the right way to do it. And
yeah,
I watched the show on my nice big TV, and it was just like a lot of these pay-per-views, they're too long. If anything, it was just a little too long. But be that as it may, I think under the circumstances, it was as good as you can do.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, a lot of these shows nowadays do run a little bit too long. I think Ring of Honor usually hits it just right. Like, it's usually about 2.5 hours to 3 hours for a show.
Well, back in the old days, especially with Gabe, the shows were, ridiculous. There would be a I learned this. I learned it the hard way, and then I heard Jim Cornette verbalize it. It's like, if you're going to go to have a good meal, what are you going to eat? A couple of hot dogs before you go to like a nice restaurant? So we used to do these way back. We used to do these pre-shows that were like an hour, and then but in this case, it was fine. And even if it was a little long, I think every match had a good purpose, and they were different. And even though there had to be some changes on the fly, like with Shane Taylor and Jay Briscoe, and with EC3 not being there, and so on and so forth, I think the thing worked really well.
I feel like an idiot now because I didn't actually realize EC3 wasn't there. And I don't know if that's just because the show was still good without, but I'm a big EC3 fan, and I've only just realized he wasn't on the show.
That's how good the show was.
I mean, this is going to come off sounding anti-EC3, but it's like he wasn't really missed. Yet, I mean, if he would have been there, it would have been great. But just the way it worked out, I think you understand what I'm saying.
I completely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't know if it's just me, but I kind of find EC3 to be a strange fit for Ring of Honor. Like, it's not that he's not good. It's just that Ring of Honor seems like a weird place for EC3 to be. And I don't know if that's just me, but that's how I've seen it recently.
I don't know. I don't really, except for what we've seen, which isn't much. I think that, we'll have to see how it plays out. But yeah, it's, anyway, the final battle that we did get, was excellent. The main event was fantastic. Maybe you could refresh my memory on some of the other matches.
Yeah, I was going to say we won't go through it match by match, but we'll go through like the bits that stuck out to us because, like you said, the main event was fantastic. And Brody King,
that was it. We spoke to Brody King a few weeks ago, didn't we? And he's very, very passionate about Ring of Honor. I mean, he came across so passionately about the company and where he wants to take the company. That match was fantastic. What was your thoughts on that match then, Cary?
Well, I don't know how these guys do it. I mean, I've been sitting, on a normal final battle, I would have been sitting at the table next to Bobby Cruz, and it's just astounding that these guys can do it. And I think we've referenced this before, but Roosh, who's fantastic, but the guy's like dangerous. For me, I've sat at ringside for close to 18 years, and somehow although I've had to scramble a few times, and then I had that thing last year with Bully Ray, but I had there's quite a few times where I could have been mowed down, and Roosh doesn't, so a lot of the guys will be like aware of, we're sitting there or aware that, we know when to move, or we think we know when to move. But Roosh, and I've even joked around with him. I said, "What are you trying to kill me?" Oh, sorry, man. But yeah, it was great. I mean, talk about two heavyweights. It had like the big fight feel. I mean, we talked about Kobashi and Samoa Joe, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And although it was completely different, it had the big fight feel. So what I'm referring to is, I don't know if you've seen any, you guys, I'm always talking about things from 40, 50 years ago, but, when Muhammad Ali would fight Joe Frazier, or Muhammad Ali against George Foreman, or just those particular moments, Flair and Steamboat, so on and so forth. I'm trying to come up with some modern day references.
Well, the references that Brody King gave when we spoke to him, he said he wants to be, like we were saying last time, we have Kenta versus Samoa Joe. Those were the matches which really stuck out to the fans. They're like matches immortalized in Ring of Honor history. Brody King said he wants to have that same kind of match where people list it, where they're going Brody King versus Roosh, as one of those cornerstone matches in Ring of Honor. Do you feel like he managed to do that? Or do you feel like that's still to come?
Under the circumstances, I think they came as close as possible.
Yeah.
It's no matter what we say, to do this in front of no people is not the way, you're going to be able to give a fair a barometer. But I think they came as close as possible, with what they had to work with.
Do you see Brody as a future world champion as well, and you think he's someone who can carry the company?
Absolutely. It's similar to what we've seen over the last 18 years, where guys are slowly elevated. I mean, I remember the first time when CM Punk came, right? It was just a Midwest sort of sensation. And he slowly elevated. Samoa Joe, he was an exception. Samoa Joe, you sort of knew right out of the gate that this guy is special. And then when those guys left, you know, we saw a guy like Austin Aries come out, you know, sort of come out of left field, as they say in the U.S. And then we could go to Tyler Black, Davey Richards, Roderick Strong. The list continues. Eddie Edwards, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, so you know, and so on and so forth. But Brody's definitely ROH World Champion material, no doubt about it.
Absolutely, yeah. No, and like me, Cal said, he spoke so passionately about the company as well, didn't he, Callum, when we had him on?
Yeah, I think there's a few people that were on Final Battle who, after the performances, I can see them as future world champions, and even if not world champion anytime soon, major players. And one of those I want to speak about is Danhausen. If you got a chance to see Danhausen, he's such a unique character.
I was really glad that Danhausen is now finally officially part of Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
You know, I've always liked wrestling from my childhood, and it's always been like the circus. You have the high flying people, you have the clowns, you have the this and that, you know, the sword swallower, anyway. So with pro wrestling, for me, it's always been a variety show. And that's been lost. And I think it got lost in Ring of Honor over the years. We had great in-ring action, right?
Yeah.
But then occasionally, like, all right, for example, we would have this great in-ring action, and these guys who could do so much in the ring and have these great matches. But what happened and then like suddenly, you know, Necro Butcher would come in.
Yeah.
Right. Which was welcome. You know, I used to say that, you know, we had all the guys we have. It's like if we were running Abercrombie and Fitch model. You know, we have all these handsome young men, right? What happened to the big fat guy?
Yeah.
What happened, right? What happened to the oddball?
Yeah.
So, so getting back to Danhausen, he's good, and he's good in the ring too.
He is.
Yeah.
He's such a good character. I feel like people forget how good he is in the ring. He can go.
I even sent Callum a message after Final Battle because I'd not seen much of Danhausen. I loved the character, but I'd not seen much of him in the ring. And I remember messaging Callum saying, Danhausen can really go. I mean, it was fantastic watching him. And he's a guy, I replied to your tweet the other night, actually, Cary, that I'd love to get Danhausen to bring his evil to Ringsiders at some point.
Oh, I'd want it. It'd have to be Danhausen though. Like I wouldn't even want him to break character once. You know.
No, I don't think he would. So
to be fair, I don't even know if it is a character.
Just like Delirious, right?
Yeah.
All these years. You know, so yeah, I'm happy to have that. You know, I want to have that variety show feel. I wish there were some. I can't say midgets anymore. I get in trouble. I wish there were some small wrestlers around. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was great. Splitting up the Briscoes was interesting. You know, there's only, you know, I think there was twice where they wrestled each other. One of them was in the UK, in Liverpool, way back.
Yeah. And
there was another, I think there was a title match in 2015 or 16 where I think Jay had the belt. And to see them, you know, I'm saying the obvious here, but these guys, you know, just on their own are great. And but they're just thought of as, you know, the Briscoes tag team. So to see them working separately it was not, there was no disappointment as them not being a tag team.
I feel like people forget Jay Briscoe as a former world champion anyway. Like, he's good on his own. Like, he's done so much on his own.
Yeah. And there's you know, the Briscoes have been there from day one, you know, and and I think one of the reasons you're hearing all these people being so happy with Ring of Honor is the way that Ring of Honor has taken care of everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've heard that a lot.
Including, you know, Mark Haskins. I mean, they extended his contract, or they re-signed him, and there's no sign that he could come back at the moment. So it's very nice of the company to do that.
We spoke to Joe Hendry as well recently. He's in the same situation. He's in Scotland with no sign of when he's coming back or any date for being able to do anything. But they've still been sending him promos to do. They've kept him busy, you know, and they're still paying him. They've still got him under contract, but they don't know when they can bring him back. So he was saying how amazing it is that Ring of Honor cares about the talent so much to be able to, you know, to keep them on board, because realistically they wouldn't have to, like, but it's the good thing to do.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing is the way that the company is forced to do business at the moment because of the pandemic. And I hate when I speak about Sinclair because I'm not really part of it, but they don't want to go to a state like Florida where, you know, it's like the Wild West. So where I'm going with this is we're having another set of there's three sets of tapings coming up. It's over a period of time. It's not a big secret, you know. Point is like there's going to be, these guys are getting full pay for basically doing like just a few days of work, which is very rare in the wrestling business or any business really.
Yeah. Now, a match I wanted to talk about was the Righteous versus Taven and Bennett, which the storyline has engrossed me. That's the match I was looking forward to the most on the card. The storyline has had me engrossed. What's your thoughts on that? But also, what's it like having Mike Bennett back?
I'm glad Mike Bennett's back. And let's not forget his beautiful wife.
Absolutely.
You know, on a personal level, they're really nice. They're really good people. They really are. And he and Tave, I remember back in 2010, 11-ish, when I owned the company, when Mike and Adam Cole at the same time were being courted by Gabe and, you know, Dragon Gate USA back then. And they had to make a decision. And it wasn't like we were offering them big money. It was, you know, peanuts. But I remember being on the phone a few times with Mike and Adam, and they chose to go to Ring of Honor. And obviously Mike got an opportunity, you know, with WWE. Did he go to TNA?
No, I don't think. Did he?
No, he went to, did he have a stint in Impact and went to WWE?
Bennett.
Yeah,
he did. He went to Impact. He was Miracle. So,
which is fine.
The Miracle, yes.
But it's great to have them back. And, you know, he and Taven are legitimate. You know, they came up together, and it's a nice synergy to have them back. And the whole thing with Vinny, it's hard to do that kind of thing with no people. That's like the hard. I think as hard as it is to do pro wrestling in front of no people, to do these kind of, for lack of a better way to put it, these violent angles and these strange situations, you know, these is difficult. So I think I think it was done as well. You know, it was engaging. Put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, Callum spoke to Vincent a few months ago. We had Vita Von Star on as well before Christmas, and it was just nice to get their views on it, because I said to Vita, I think the Righteous for me are one of the best things in wrestling at the moment. I just love everything about it, the presentation, the theme music, everything, the look. I'm in awe watching them come out. Are you the same? Is that are you a big fan of the Righteous?
Yeah. I mean, the production. I think the pandemic for Ring of Honor, besides the wrestling, I think it upgraded the production. Yeah. You know, because they were. It was like they were forced to just, you know, make this thing look as good as possible. And I just, you know, all the presentations, all the video packages, all the background stories on these guys, whether it's a guy like LSG or whether it's, you know, the whole thing with Bennett and Taven and Vinny, they're explained well, and for having no people there, it's done well. I mean, I really don't watch Impact. Maybe they're doing a good job. I peek in. I watched last night a little bit of Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor, which was really good.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, but you're talking WWE budget, and you know, the lighting is fantastic. And then I was watching some of the AEW. I was talking to Jerry Lynn the other day. I said to him, I'm good. He's a good friend. And I said, can you do me one favor? I said, I enjoy watching AEW. Can you tell these guys that after maybe I make the suggestion that there's not like a run-in or some kind of schmaz, as they say, after every match? And Jerry's like, I know.
There is
I know, you know,
something after every match. And I realized why the other day. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but that everybody's affiliated with some kind of group in AEW. And everybody has like 5 friends who will run in and save them. And, you know, like the Nightmare family's got about 20 people in it. There's the Dark Order. There's Team.
You guys could be part of the Nightmare family. Anybody could be.
I'm in the Nightmare family. Everybody comes out with him every time for his entrance. And if anybody beats him up, 20 people run in to save him.
So considering, you know, suspending disbelief and all that, I think Ring of Honor has, if you're looking at wrestling like that in an old school way, like I think we all like it, I think Ring of Honor has done the best job. I mean, last night in AEW, and they're my friends, you know, the Bucks and Kenny, and now there's Gallows and Anderson. So, you know, they're a faction, you know, God bless them. But it's like, it just happens so fast. But whatever, you know.
No, I'm with you on that one. I'm with you, Cary, completely. But we mentioned the Briscoes, and I know another guy who's got his eyes set on the Ring of Honor World title is Shane Taylor. What's your thoughts on Shane so far?
He's great. There's another guy, because you got to remember in the beginning, I believe it was Shane Taylor and Keith Lee.
Yes.
You know, either they came in together or they were paired up together. And this was a case where Shane Taylor benefited by Keith Lee leaving. You know, no disrespect to Keith Lee. He's really good. But it gave him the opportunity to, on his own, to showcase. And that's another guy who's in the Brody Lee, Brody King, excuse me, who's in that, where Shane could be a Ring of Honor World Champion. I could see, I don't know if you guys feel that way, but I could see that.
Definitely. And it came out of nowhere as well, because maybe 1 or 2 years ago, I might not have seen that, but since he broke up from Keith Lee, since he's had a really good television championship run, I definitely see him as a main eventer now. He's putting on some great matches. He's getting his character worked out, and I definitely see him as a future main eventer, if he's not already.
You guys would probably know better than me. Has Shane and Brody ever wrestled?
Yes, they wrestled actually a couple of months ago, and they had a really. You could tell they were putting on the brakes a little bit. They weren't doing everything they could do. And I'm guessing that's because they're going to do like a feud with them down the line, perhaps. But it was a really good match of, if they do have an all-out match in the future, it's definitely going to be something I'd want to see, because they're both big dudes who can move.
Right.
Yeah, I think Brody won that match as well, didn't he?
Yeah, Brody won. Yeah.
That's another match on the list for us, definitely. But sorry, Cary, go on.
No, I was just going to say I'd love to see all these matches that we're thinking about for the future in a real building with people, and then we'd really have something. It was also, speaking of guys, it's nice that Bandito's been re-signed also. Yeah. These guys. Rouge Bandito, Dragon Lee, these guys are just so good. So, and you mentioned Danhausen, and you mentioned Mike Bennett, and we're talking about all these guys, and we didn't even bring up Jay Lethal, right?
Yeah,
he's always there, and he's always so damn good. And
absolutely.
Dalton Castle, another one. So. The point is, I think Ring of Honor is in good shape.
Absolutely, yeah, and Dalton Castle, another one who I'm a massive fan of. I think the guy's fantastic. But I know we have time running out, because I know we have the 40-minute Zoom. So before we go, I'm going to get you back on in a couple of weeks, because I've got so much I want to talk to you about old school. But before we go, tell us about Last Stop Penn Station.
Well, I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with it.
I was today, actually.
All right. Well, the episode. Oh yeah, this is good. The episode that comes out Friday. I don't know when you're going to be showing this, but the episode for January 9th. I tell it, besides talking about some rock and roll stuff, because I recently watched this documentary about John Lennon, about his time in New York City. He left when the Beatles broke up, he came over to New York, and it was just so fascinating. But that led to after we got done with some John Lennon talk, I've been working with my cousin on the Last Stop Penn Station memoirs, and we were doing 2008. So we talk about our second trip to Tokyo. The first trip to Tokyo was very successful, because we had the one show with Noah and the one show with Dragon Gate. And there's a podcast, there's a Last Stop Penn Station, which tells the whole story. And obviously both companies were responsible for selling tickets, and they did their due diligence. We were very close with Noah, but on the second trip, you got to hear this story. I'm not going to tell it here, but on the second trip, Dragon Gate, instead of selling 500 tickets, which was like a minimum. They had it only sold like under 50 tickets.
Wow.
Plus, they were running a show against it in Tokyo. So it's a wild story with all kinds of twists. And if you're a Last Stop Penn Station fan, or a Ring of Honor fan, or a wrestling fan, or you want to hear a really wild story, check out Last Stop Penn Station this week about what happened on the 2008 trip to Japan. You'll never believe it.
I will be checking out. I was catching up today. I'm a bit behind because I'm still having to go to work and stuff. But I had a couple of hours today, and I'm up to the Mick Foley episodes. I've got a few more days off, so I'm going to binge them. But I'm definitely going to get you back in a couple of weeks, Cary, because
Okay.
I've got a lot of old school stories to talk about. I mean, if you're okay coming back, obviously.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's great. I'm terrified of this cutting off, so I will say thank you so much, Cary. It's always a pleasure.
Love talking to you guys anytime. It's always a pleasure.
Hope it was all we cheer you up a bit, Cary, because you cheered us up.
Well, you guys cheered me up too. So
I
will speak to you guys soon, and let's hope that this year starts. After all the bullshit we've seen to start the year, let's hope things get better. And
absolutely,
I will speak to you guys soon.
Speak to you soon.
Thank you. Speak to you soon.
All right.
Bye-bye.